Helen of Troy was the face that launched 1,000 ships. Legend has it that she was the most beautiful woman in the ancient Greek world, and her story is one about love and destruction, perfect for Valentine's Day. Of course, there's no real portraits of her, only artist depictions, but we will recreate those to see how she might have looked in real life if she were the woman in those portraits. As well as always, let's talk a little bit about her story to see what her deal was. So let's get started. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more historical recreations. And let me know in the comments who you want to see in real life. Helen of Troy was the daughter of Zeus, god of sky and thunder, and Leda, a human princess. Leda was married to the king of Sparta, thus making her a queen, but Zeus seduced her. Zeus, you see, had many children with many women, and Helen became one of these offsprings. So she was a demigod, half human, and her story is an ancient version of a damsel in distress. Two Athenians, Theseus and Pirithous, thought that since they were the sons of gods that they should have divine wives. So they pledged together to help each other abduct two daughters. One was the daughter of Zeus, Helen, for Theseus, and the other was the wife of Hades. Long story short, Helen was a child. She gets kidnapped. She is rescued by her two brothers while her captors get trapped in the underworld trying to abduct Hades' wife. This would not be her first kidnapping though. When Helen was of age to marry, many suitors offered her their hands. Her stepfather, the king of Sparta, was worried about bloodshed, and so he said to his suitors, "First, let's make a pact to defend the chosen husband if anyone were to quarrel with him." Grumpily, they agreed, and he chose Menelaus, the son of another king. Eventually, Helen's parents abdicated, and she, along with Menelaus, became king and queen of Sparta. They ruled for at least 10 years before the next major event and had one daughter and 3 sons. After 10 years of marriage, we insert Paris, a Trojan prince. Basically, there was a competition with the gods, and he would pick the winner. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, was a candidate and promised Paris that if she won, he could have the most beautiful woman. Long story short, she wins, and he goes to Sparta to go collect Helen. He either abducts her, or she was shot with Cupid's arrow, who was Aphrodite's son, and she eloped with him back to Troy. It's debatable, however. In one version, they stop off in Egypt. The king of Egypt is protective of Helen and doesn't allow her to go to Troy with Paris. Paris goes to Troy without Helen, and Helen waits the remainder of the Trojan War inside of Egypt and then is reunited with her husband, Menelaus. The other version is more exciting, and it's when Helen goes straight to Troy. When her husband finds out she's missing, he rallies the other suitors and calls to arms, and this begins the Trojan War. The Trojan War was a decade-long war and one of the most important events in Greek mythology. Historically, there is evidence of a battle within the area of Troy. However, it's unsure how much of that mythology was real. Here we have the famous war hero Achilles and Achilles' heel. You may also be familiar with the Trojan Horse, where the Greeks built a giant horse and filled it with soldiers. They present it as a trophy, and unaware that men are inside, the Trojans bring it into their city. The soldiers pop out like candy in a piñata and desecrate Troy from within. The dates of the Trojan War can be ranged from around 1300 BC to 1100 BC, but during the war, Paris died and Helen was then a bride to one of his other brothers. There's a couple of versions as to what happened to Helen during the sacking of Troy. One version says that she is a lonely and helpless woman, desperate to be rescued. Another is that she turned her back against her husband and tormented him to try and make him leave. Then there's the story of her husband finding her, and he tries to kill her for her betrayal, but she drops her robes, and the sight of her beauty caused him to reconsider. Anyway, she survived and went back to Sparta with her husband. They reconciled and lived a harmonious married life without any grudge. But it's not really a complete happy ending though. You see, the gods were upset. The temples were now destroyed from the Greeks. Basically, they cursed the winning party, and many succumbed to a storm on their way home, or if they made it home, they found their spouses in bed with strangers. Some got lost, some got murdered. There's a whole bunch of mini-side versions of this story, but in the end, the prize was Helen, the prize was Troy, and the prize was the Trojan Horse. Each victory led to the defeat of the victor in some shape or form. And so that's a little bit about Helen of Troy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more historical recreations. And let me know in the comments who you want to see in real life. And I will see you in the next one.